Greetings and welcome to our 4-week introduction course. I'm Yasmin. I'm a psychologist, coach, writer. I also teach yoga and meditation. I spend my time between New York, Johannesburg, and now Jamaica. I really am living my dreams, and wherever I am, I live my system and I teach the system. And the system is what I'm here to introduce you to today. And essentially, the system is a 7-step process to getting whatever you want. And when I say whatever you want, I mean whatever you want, whether it's financial abundance, spiritual evolution, holy, health, happy, relating, whatever that may be. This is a system that combines psychological tools, the maneuvering of the mind, which is so important. So psychological tools and universal laws that combine to show you how to get what you want. And remember, for those of us that know about manifestation, power of thought, etc., we also know that once we start applying it, we realize, I'm doing A, B, C, D, but why isn't it happening? It feels like there's gaps. And essentially, the gaps usually come down to psychological blocks more than anything. And so this system, although it didn't start off that way, it does actually close these gaps in manifestation, whatever you'd like to call it. So maybe let's start off with what, I've been debating in my head for a while now, whether it is the biggest gap. And I think it probably is. It's the first gap we all fall through in manifestation, in creation. And the gap is identifying authentic desire. In other words, how do you know that what you want is really what you want? Remember, if you're smart, we deceive ourselves, right? Actually, no, we all deceive ourselves. And if you're smarter, you deceive yourself at a whole other level. So how do you know what you want is what you want? If all these systems say to us, the first step is to know what you want and then do A, B, C, D. But what if what you want is not what you want? What if what you want is a fear-based desire? And by the way, my definition of authentic desire is very simple. It's what you would want in the absence of fear. What you would want if you could allow yourself to want it. What you would want if you could allow yourself to want it. And make no mistake, fear truly is, you can almost see it as the thing that holds physical reality together. So to jump out of, and it's the sea we all swim in like little fishies, right? And to jump out of it for even a moment to identify what you want is one of the hardest things to do. And yet, if you are living, if your desires are fear-based, then you are, no matter what you think, you are living a fear-based life. Let me give you an example. Let's say a bright young student. She has the absolute potential to be a surgeon, doctor, whatever you will. But in her mind, because of her fears that she wouldn't be able to do it, because of these fears, she has absolutely convinced herself that she wants to be a nurse. No amount of whatever will, unless she's sitting in a course, going through the steps, doing one-on-one work, that we can help her to identify and excavate that true desire. But if not, she will probably believe that she really wanted to be a nurse. And what will happen is she'll probably do really well. She'll become one of the best nurses around and then wonder why she's so unfulfilled, which is what happens to most of us, right? And so that's what happens when we living on fear-based desires. What happens when we living on authentic desires? The first thing that happens is we are on our path. I don't know if you've ever felt like the piece of ground you're standing on is your ground. That's a very different feeling, and that gives birth to conviction and all the rest. This is why people that sit at the top of their fields are people that usually are doing what they truly want to do. They are living their authentic desires, and that's why they sit at the top of their fields. And also, there's so many reasons for authentic desire. We all want to live beyond our fears, don't we? But when you are living beyond your fears, many would say that living beyond your fears is not just a way to get what you want, but is a way to fulfill your purpose here on earth, right? Many would say that if you are able to live beyond fear, that you are actually akin to a god. So Hopefully we know why we need authentic desire, at the least, so that we don't go and live fear-based desires and then wonder at the end of it, why do I feel so empty, not quite satisfied? So one of the biggest challenges in identifying authentic desire is something that our mind does to protect us, right? I call it the how over what defense. So what happens is, as soon as you identify something, for me it was, my last manifestation was, I want to live in Jamaica. As soon as you start thinking about it, the hows come in before the what. So here we're talking about how to get to a point where we focus on the what over the how. But the how comes in as soon as you think about how's that possible? How am I going to make my money? Oh, what about the visa system? Oh no, but oh my God, I'd be so lonely. I have no friends. So before you are even able to identify what you want, let alone make an emotional connection to it, I'm just saying to be able to identify what you want, the first challenge we find is that our mind, in order to protect us, throws us into how. And once we're thrown into how, we're not focusing on what. And if you cannot name something, you cannot have it. So that's how the mind protects you, and that's how the mind holds us back. So that's the first thing to be really aware of when trying to identify an authentic desire, to ask the mind to be quiet for a minute so that you can identify what you truly want. Once you've identified what you truly want, and this is a muscle that builds over time, once you've identified what you truly want, you also want to make an emotional connection to it. And you know you've made an emotional connection to what you really want when you can close your eyes. Like for me, I'm living in Jamaica, and I could do two things. If my eyes are closed and I think about it really, really happening, I get an image of what it would be like for me to live in Jamaica, and I would get a feeling of what that living out that authentic desire would feel like. And without that feeling, it's just an intellectual connection. It's just an emotional connection. So it's just an intellectual connection, which really has very little value because you can toss it out tomorrow if it's just intellectual. But the emotional comes at a very big price, because once you allow yourself to want something, there's a part of you going, oh my word, I shouldn't be wanting this. What if it doesn't happen? And that's really scary. And yet that is the price to pay. That is the price to pay to have what you want. So in a way, we can say desire is the down payment. So for the next week, play a little with this concept of how over what. Watch how the mind is trying to protect you from what you really want. Ask yourself what you want. See if you can just push past the hows for a moment to identify it. And when you identify it, try to see if you can do those two things. Note an image, don't make it up, but note an image that comes up, and note the feeling that it comes with. And also remember how hard that's going to be. So do the hard work, and then we'll play next week.